At this time, we ask that you please rise for the national anthem of New Zealand, performed tonight by Will Martin. Fans, please remain standing for the national anthem of the United States of America, performed tonight by Ariana Johnson.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets raked alike, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So two very talented young singers singing the national anthems, getting a great reception from the crowd too, and I'm sure there'll be a great reception now. The traditional challenge of the Maori, the challenge that has become synonymous with New Zealand rugby, the haka, timatanga. Timatanga, the haka of the Maori All Blacks, led by Captain Ash Dixon, but you notice the man at the front of the arrow formation, Joe Royal, who really has led the team this week as they prepared to perform that challenge. A challenge that is about the gathering of young warriors and the setting of goals. If you aim for the skies, you will climb the peaks, and that's what they'll hope to do on this three-match tour starting here tonight in Chicago. Notably, the US team just taking a moment now. Seem to enjoy facing up to it, though. Big moment for a lot of those players, Justin.
Yeah, certainly was, and they didn't back down, did they, the US? They look really intent, as do the Maori. We should get an entertaining game here this evening, no doubt about it. They haven't had any success against the Maori, the USA, so in 3 matches without a win, they'll be determined to try and turn those statistics around, I would imagine.
There's the referee, Matt Carley of England. He'll be assisted by 2 local referees, American referees, Kurt Weaver and Derek Summers. TMO is Rowan Kitt of England. So we're all set. And it will be Folau Niua to start the match. There he is in the inside centre. So stand by, the US Eagles against the Maori All Blacks in Chicago.
Time on, please.
So Niua it is who kicks deep, and a first touch for Tawara Kurbalo, who's been given the opportunity to play in this game by the All Black selectors. Opportunity, though, for Will Holder to put the ball high. Challenge for Damien McKenzie. But he took it under no real pressure, and the Māori All Blacks have the ball. Ihia West with his first kick of the game, putting it deep. And fullback Mike Tell on the far side, appealing for a penalty. Felt he was taken out, but referee waves play on. Number 8, Danny Barrett, fires it back in field to Holder, and so some early kicking. Cutter Pryor back for the Māori All Blacks, and now Ihia West. Well, this one's not going to go into touch, is it? Yes, it will. Dropping back, well, a familiar figure for New Zealand viewers, Tony Lambourne. Played for Hawke's Bay, the Hurricanes this year, born in Ashburton in the South Island of New Zealand, but with an American father. Welcome in viewers all around the world who have joined us for this match here in Chicago, being played on a tremendous surface. It's the home ground of the Chicago Fire football team. And it's James Hildebrand of the US to throw to the first line out. And an early penalty against the Māori All Blacks. An opportunity for the Eagles to put the ball downfield.
Penalty against the Māori All Blacks, offside and line out.
Will Holder it is. He puts the ball into touch. There's Tom Franklin, the man who will call the Māori All Black line out. But of course, US ball. James Hildebrand, an Australian born, throws it down to the back and tapped down rather loosely by Nick Savetta. An untidy ball. And Bryce Campbell in his debut performance for the US tonight has to do the tidying up. And again, they go to the boot of Will Holder, putting it deep. Here's James Lowe on the left wing for the Maori All Blacks. He'll put it high. Very good kicker, Lowe. Tears after it. Holder stayed back, though. Here's Teal, the fullback, who really likes to counter-attack. Only makes it as far as about 30 metres from his own goal line. Nate Augsburger, the US halfback. Now he kicks. McKenzie waiting for it. Fires it across field to West. A bit of shadow boxing early on. Here's Niua. Teo. And his kick goes down to McKenzie. Well, who's going to be the first? Not able to resist the temptation to run low. Taken and a good tackle. That was Yosefo, the right winger, who got up and made it. But they get it back to McKenzie. Tim Bateman back at the Maori All Blacks after a 2-year absence. A loose pass. And there's going to be an opportunity here for the Eagles. Well, it was just a matter, Justin. A lot of kicking early on. Who was going to balk first?
Yeah, it was the New Zealand Maori that decided to shift it. They're just a little flat when they tried to get it across to the outside. They did have an overlap, but just nobody sort of at depth, enabling them to get onto that outside channel. So an opportunity for the US. Todd Clever going in there, you can see, to halfback, so perhaps a line-out drive to come.
Savetta in 5, the tallest man. He goes into lift. That's Nate Breakley. Another one who's new to this US team under John Mitchell's coaching. They smuggle it to the back where Lambourne has it. And they look to drive it. Edging forward. Augsburger realises they're probably going to have to move it now. Lambourne taking it round the fringe. And good work by the forwards now. Clever picks it up. Just 10 metres from the goal line here. Here's Lamo Sitele, the loose head prop. Now hold up. And they give it to the left winger, Leota. Breaks the line. Big Matai Leota. Holder's got it in there. Coming for Augsburger. Great chance. Numbers away to the left. They have to score. Clever. Well, he went with it. He had a man outside him, Danny Barrett. And the ball's been stolen by Akira Ioane. And Kerr Barlow puts it away. Hasn't put it into touch. There's a good chase on here too. It's Rico Ioane who's got up. Holder's got back. And now Teal. Now the game's starting to open up now. But really, you do feel the US missed a golden opportunity to open the scoring. They do get a penalty eventually. But Justin, they had the numbers.
They certainly did. As they shifted it wide, it was really well orchestrated and they constructed it perfectly. They had the Maori short on their line, and then when Todd Clever needed to pass, he decided to not and prop off that right foot, and it really did cost them dearly. He had a man outside him. Yes, there was cover defence coming, but I think momentum would have got the player to into the touchline. This is the break, the earlier break. Lovely pass and set up. And Teo was looming on the outside, so again, that's him going in as the first tackler, and there's Clever off the left foot. Wow. Should have gone, TJ.
Well, interesting to see the Eagles have not gone for goal. They've gone for the line out. They set it for the drive again. Feel they've got some early momentum. Hooker Hildebrand has it, really going across the field at the moment.
Down by White.
Now they take it away. So just 5 metres out from the line, but off their feet. And I think it might have been the captain who's been caught here. Yes, he said number 6, so penalty goes against Todd Clever. So not a great start for the captain, who's back in the side. To say, rather surprisingly, left out of their team for the World Cup last year after a bit of a fallout with the previous coach. But John Mitchell's got him back in the team and leading it. And the Maori All Blacks have, well, dodged a couple of good raids early on by the American team. First line-out throw for the Maori All Blacks, and their captain, Ash Dixon. And Tom Franklin, such a good line-out forward. Kerr Barlow puts it high, Lowe giving chase. And Holder takes it as Lowe comes to him, gets away from the first tackler as well. He's a strong player, Will Holder. Clever, driven back in the tackle. Now Bowman, Chris Bowman, played for the Wellington Lions in the New Zealand provincial competition. Another high kick. West coming up, was always struggling to get to it. And good pressure from Lambourne. And the Eagles have got it back. Augsburger, he goes for the kick over the top. And that's going to run into touch. Midway 22 and goal line. So 8 fairly frantic minutes have gone by, but still no score.
White, step out in the middle. 4. White, step out.
And referee just making sure the line-outs are spaced. Dixon with the throw. And they'll go back to the left boot of James Lowe. Drills it deep. Wasn't really looking for the touchline. Here's Mike Teal from the San Diego Breakers. Kicking out towards the touchline, but not a good kick at all. And he's given up a lot of ground there. And the first real opportunity for the Maori All Blacks to go onto the attack now.
They'll learn very quickly, will the US, about the power of James Lowe's left foot. If he drops back into that pocket, went sailing over both of their heads, so the back three will have to adjust to that. He's got a prolific kick on him when he really climbs into it from deep.
Well, Jacob Skeen was the target for the first line out, takes the second as well. Here's Lowe coming in from the left wing, coming off a very good season with the Tasman Marcos. Now Dixon, Elliot Dixon, 2 Dixons in the Maori All Black team. Kerr Barlow scrambles it away. Kane Hames, wide it goes to Rico Ioane. Now back to Elliot Dixon. Good hit on him by Hildebrand, but it's there for Kerr Barlow. Damien McKenzie, he'll pop up at first receiver a lot. Turns a nice ball back in field to Ash Dixon. And he's taken inside the 22. Holder getting hands to it. He's done really well here. Referee's playing an advantage. I've turned the ball over. Augsburger can see it.
No, not now, 5.
And has a little dab around the fringe too. Well, the referee looked like he was playing advantage, but he's let play go on. And so back they go to Holder. His kick hasn't found touch. Lowe wants it. He's got Pryor with him. And almost slipping. Popping it up nicely to Matt Proctor. Now Akira Ioane. And they know they have to close him down because he's so hard to stop. Pops a nice ball into space. And Ben May to Dixon. Taken on by Franklin. They've got the chance now. Over the top it goes to Lowe, and he's in. The referee wants confirmation here, though. Try awarded. He just sought the advice of his assistant, but the try is scored by James Lowe. And the Maori All Blacks lead early by 5-0.
Oh, you have to feel a little sorry for Will Holder. He did a magnificent job in turning the ball over earlier in the movement, and then he got up out of the ruck and got thrown the ball, didn't find touch. And from there, that's when this guy, the man on screen, James Lowe, decided to launch the counter-attack. And he made good inroads initially, and then it was just some lovely interchanging of passing. Players punching onto the ball, better depth than we saw earlier in the match. Ash Dixon, prominent, made a couple of nice little breaks. Damien McKenzie, 2 good decisions. One to offload that got the try for James Lowe when he's under a little bit of pressure. But plenty of players handling the ball and punching onto it, and an excellent team try in the finish.
So it'll be Ihaya West to attempt the conversion wide out. Early chances spurned by the US Eagles. And first real raid by the Maori All Blacks results in a try. West, and the conversion from wide out is very good. It's over. And so it's a 7-0 lead for the Maori All Blacks. And this is really where they had a chance to close it down, but the offload to May, and this was great from here on in, Justin.
Yeah, it certainly was. That's brilliant from Ash Dixon. The dummy first and then the offload to Franklin. Comes spewing out the back here, but they do really well to clean it up. And this decision, McKenzie's a good one. He knew the winger was coming in, just popped it over the top, and plenty of players to spare James Lowe. He gets the try.
So the restart from Niua. Lowe again driving the ball deep. And Holder having to go back a long, long way. Got such a powerful boot, James Lowe. And Holder, well, he puts it into touch short of halfway. Some very good work in the lead up to that try too by Jacob Skeen. He was the man who just got his hands on the ball, cleared it up off the deck, kept it going. He's also won a couple of early lineouts.
They said 5.
Here's Nick Civetta. And again, they go down to the back. They've read that well. Civetta's got up, got in front of Jacob Skeen and steals the ball at line-out time. Augsburger. And wind up in a charge from Hildebrand, the hooker. Augsburger away to Niua. And here's Campbell, the centre. Holder dropping back into the pocket again for the kick. And he won't want to do that too often, kicking it straight to Damien McKenzie. Such a good counter-attacker. Finds a nice angle with his punt as well. Stops just short of the touchline. Holder has to make some room for himself as McKenzie came flying at him. And a territory gain here for the Maori All Blacks.
And you're right in what you say. He can't sit back in that pocket, but it just telegraphs what he's going to do. Immediately that he goes into that position, the wingers are dropping back in support of Damien McKenzie. That time he opted for a brilliant kick, which did stop and stay in touch, which enables now New Zealand Maori to have an opportunity to attack close to the 22 of the USA. So he's going to have to be careful about sitting back there, Holder, or they will counter-attack all day and cause them headaches.
So Dixon with the line-out throw finds Elliot Dixon. And, well, that was a bit untidy. Bounced it down in front of Tawara Kurbalo. So it'll be a scrum feed to the USA. This is the fourth time, in fact, that these teams have met, as Justin mentioned before. 3 previous occasions. Māori All Blacks winning 69-31 at Calgary 2004, 74-6 in San Francisco 2 years later, and then a closer match in 2013 in Philadelphia, won by the Māori All Blacks 29-19. So first scrum feed, Nate Augsburger. You can see Bauman played in New Zealand's Mitre 10 Cup for Wellington. Hildebrand, the hooker, and Lemositele up against May, Hames and Dixon. And controlled in the back by Barrett, and they give it to Niua, who charges into the defence. Clever now put on the ground. Solid tackle made by Pryor, and the ball's been lost. Well, he's not had a great start to this game, it has to be said. The US captain made a few errors. Some good defence there.
Don't mind the ambition, though, from the US. You know, easily an area of the field where you could just want to kick it. Instead, they opted for the 8-9 move off the back of the scrum. And as you mentioned, Niua, good strong carry. So they're certainly showing some intent. And they're not just going to sit back and die wondering. The US, they'll look to attack the All Blacks, I should say the New Zealand Māori, with ball in hand.
So Mackenzie's away to the right with Rico Ioane, and that's the way they go. Kurbalo fires it wide, and bouncing off the shoulder of Ioane. Mackenzie got across well. Matai Leota on the left wing is a very dangerous runner, and here's a good charge from Danny Barrett, the number 8. Charging onto it now is Holder, but he loses the ball in contact, and Akira Ioane has it, gives it to his brother, Rico with the fend and the pass, low and close. West now taken a little high by Yosefo. Referee has the arm out for the high tackle. Now Rico Ioane taking them on around the fringe. Another advantage at the breakdown. They look to keep it going. Hames, good skills, the prop. And, well, a couple of the Maori All Black players just bumping into each other. So it was the second penalty advantage, one for not rolling away. The earlier one for the high tackle by Martin Yosefo. And West can put it deep.
Against the USA Eagles for not rolling away.
The decisions of the referee being conveyed to the crowd. I'm sure there's a lot of people here tonight perhaps who haven't seen a rugby game of this level before. There's Will Holder, a graduate of the famous Princeton Military Academy. Yosefo, the right winger. And there's the captain. Dixon. Skeen's gone right to the front this time, but it's Elliot Dixon. They work the move. Akira Ioane bashes through the first tackle and over. Well, a move round the front of the line out, one missed tackle, and it's all over.
Probably not good enough, you'd have to say, from the US on defence. As they work the move around the front, Elliot Dixon brings it down. It's just a simplistic one. Dixon was on the outside. They never had enough numbers there to cope for it. And this guy, with ball in hand, so powerful, he's explosive. Brushed aside one tackler. The minute that he did that, they had dropped their winger across to the far side. So it was curtains for the US, and Ioane goes in for it. What you'd have to say is a pretty easy try, but this man can make certain things on the rugby field look easy. He does have a lot of power.
Well, you have to feel a bit for Nate Augsburger, the US halfback, smallest man in the team. Left to guard Akira Ioane. It was only ever going to be one result. So West. He's 7 metres in, so closer than his first kick. And glances off the left hand, upright and over. So after almost 20 minutes, 2 converted tries, and the Maori All Blacks lead the US Eagles by 14-0. Niua deep and low. Well, he's got time to get the kick away once again. Kicking deep, and just a little bit deceived there was Danny Barrett. Thought he had it covered. And into touch it goes. Here's that try again, Justin.
As you can see here, nice little dummy. And then just the power, the fend of Ioane. He is explosive. Well worked team line out move.
Of course, the Ioane brothers in the Maori All Black side. Their mother, Sandra Wihonge, a former New Zealand rugby international herself. Father Eddie played for Samoa in the 1991 World Cup. Ball tapped down on the US side. And here is Danny Barrett looking for a charge. A very powerful runner. Played against the All Blacks at Soldier Field 2 years ago. Only lasted about 10 minutes. Well, difficult kick. But well, somehow the Eagles have managed to scramble it back. Holder, whose first instinct it seems is to kick. That's a better kick too from Will Holder. Maori All Blacks have taken it quickly, and I think they'll bring them back here. The line out had formed.
2 from each side. Show them up.
This is the start of a really big weekend of rugby here. Certainly awareness of the sport, and numbers participating in the US are growing. Skeen Goes up, wins the line out. In fact, it was Franklin who won the line out on that occasion. And another powerful charge from Akira Ioane. Back it goes to Lowe, using his left boot a lot. Holder hoping this is going to roll over the goal line. It doesn't.
Yeah, now wait.
And that's not a good kick at all. Good chase from Damien McKenzie. It was a long chase, but he stuck to the job, put a bit of pressure on, and Holder has seen the ball skew off the side of his boot. Great opportunity here for the Maori to launch again.
It's because they're not catching it ball in hand. It's always going behind them, so they're backpedaling, not able to execute good kicks because they're having to get onto the ground, get it, and there's players chasing quickly.
Well, Maori All Blacks looking to keep things moving. Bateman takes it to the line for another line-out win by Tom Franklin. Elliot Dixon now just looking to up the intensity again. Ash Dixon. Tackle was made by Campbell, the centre. Now Skeen. Working it up inside the 22. West moves it on. McKenzie. Lambourne made the tackle on his, his Hawke's Bay teammate. Now good angled run from Franklin. Now patiently building here. That's Skeen. Now the switch of play. Damien McKenzie thought he saw a gap. Kerr-Barlow takes it back the other way and takes the defence on around the fringe. And they get a penalty. It's against Chris Bellman. They've taken it quickly. They've given it to Akira Ioane. And he stopped just a couple of metres short of the line. Pick and go by Hames to the line.
Time off.
The referee wants a confirmation here. Barrett's tried to stop him getting the ball down, but he looks like he's pretty confident he scored here, Kane Hames.
I believe the tackle is complete. Just need to see whether he's used any part of his body to propel himself forward or whether he's reached out and scored the try.
Okay, so he's checking the double movement here.
Yeah, I thought he was tackled just short of the line. So that's what they're going to check, whether or not he had actually gone properly onto the ground or momentum got him over the try line.
Play is under video review.
It was just a case of whether his knees have touched the ground there.
That's right.
Just wait. Let's make the decision.
Well, he's effectively on top of another player. He's on top of Barrett. So his knees probably didn't go on the ground because he lands on Barrett and then just powers through him. Look, he's on top of Barrett and then just goes right over the top of him and finishes it off.
Rowan
Okay, Rowan, from what I can see, the tackle is completed and then he drives forward with his legs. So it's a double movement for me. You agree? No try. Penalty defence. Thank you very much.
Yeah, referee Matt Carley has decided
Gents, when I'm using the TMO, can you please
that the
stay
tackle
quiet and
had
make
been
the decision?
completed, that his knee had touched the ground, and so it's a penalty to the
Use his
Eagles.
legs
Here it is
pull
again.
forward when the tackle's complete.
There's a penalty against the Maori All Blacks, a double movement.
Yeah, I honestly don't think his knees went onto the grass. However, he is
Easier if it's quiet.
gone down and put pressure onto another player who is on the ground and effectively stopping him from going to ground. So it did look like a second go, to be fair. I think they've probably got it right.
Well, another kick off the boot of Holder that really has gone nowhere near as far as he would have liked. It was a remarkable effort by
From
Hames.
outside, it's taken in.
Deep kick
Fine.
down to Lowe. McKenzie, well, he had a good look while he was waiting for the pass, and off he goes. He saw where the space was. Savetta had to make the tackle, but here they come again. May winds up, charges through the tackle of Clever. Away on the right to Lowe, who's popping up all over the back line now. Rieko Ioane sets it. May again. Really starting to get into their work now. Lowe coming in close, takes a short pass from Kerr-Barlow. Wrestled to the ground by Bellman. Now Ihaya West holding the ball up. He's taken by the covering tackle. But play carries on. Now McKenzie in a bit of space. Well, I think he might have lost the handle as he tried to get the pass in field. Slipped out of his grasp. Lambourne has it. They're going to put him over the touchline. But the referee will bring them back for a forward pass. Just lost control of it.
Love the way Damien McKenzie is playing, though, getting himself involved in the game. There as a second receiver. We've seen him as a first receiver and also on the outside channel. Given the licence to be able to get in and get his hands on the ball, and he's so dangerous. Quick off the mark. His footwork's excellent. He's causing them a lot of problems on defence. Is Damien McKenzie, and injecting himself all over the park, so they can't really read him at the moment.
Just stay where you are.
Just a bit of treatment here for James Hildebrand. Mentioned the growing awareness of rugby in this country. I know a lot more people in Chicago this time seem to be aware of the big game coming up this weekend. It is another sellout tomorrow. This one attracted a pretty good crowd. There's now a professional league in the United States, won by the Denver Stampede. 5 teams expected to grow next year. The Olympic Games attracting athletes from to rugby from other sports. Carlin Isles, Perry Baker, of course. Nate Ebner from the New England Patriots, who played for the US at the Rio Olympics.
Need to be a bit higher on this side from the last scrum. Yeah.
It's a game that still has a long way to go. Get anywhere near the profile of the big 4 professional sports, but no question, rugby is growing in the United States of America.
Time on, please. Crouch! Bind! Set!
So Nate Augsburger from the New York Old Blues feeds the scrum. And, well, this time they're going to try and run it out. And good charge too from Bryce Campbell, the big centre. Wasn't held in the tackle. So good work from the man from Indiana University. Now Yosefo moved it on to Till. Cover defence got him. There may be signs that they might work away or move away from that kicking game. Really wasn't working for them. Although Holder now calling for it on the 22.
Now stay. No, two.
Well,
Two
it's
white.
a high kick, it's a deep kick, but it's a nothing kick really. McKenzie fires it across to Lowe, and Lowe, well, this time he might have got too much on it. He has. It's going to run deep, and so that is a big territory gain for the Eagles. Lowe's been driving them back with those kicks, but that time he just got too much on it.
As you mentioned, though, Tony, it's a dangerous policy for Holder to sit back there and just kick the ball down the throat of the receiving back 3. And Damien McKenzie, Rico Ioane and James Lowe, they will have a field day if they get kicked the ball with that much time to counter-attack and survey their options. The kicking needs to, if he's going to sit back there, he needs to kick it with the intent of getting it back.
Good attacking scrum position here, though, for the US Eagles.
Yeah, they got some change out of that, but it was only because of a mistake.
Fine.
And that won't happen all day.
Set.
Yosefo looking to take the ball at first receiver. They've got no one on the right. Good scrum from the Maori All Blacks, though, and Barrett's going to have trouble clearing this. Well, that's a great scrum.
Up on retreat.
I think he's got Lamositele on the loose head side, so there's a big win for Ben May.
Penalty against the USA Eagles for losing binding in the scrum.
Number 1 up on retreat.
Yeah, it was Lamositele, the man who plays for Saracens in England. So he'd know a bit about scrummaging if he plays in the English competition, that's for sure.
They just couldn't get past the middle row. The US, the actual hook wasn't too bad, but then that pressure came through and they were backpedaling straight away. And eventually it got stuck and they got penalised for one thing. They could have got for 2 because somebody put their hand in there and raked it back as well.
And people still taking their seats around the ground. Big pass goes into centre field, Akira Ioane. Kurbalo clears it away. Here's Proctor. Hasn't had too many opportunities to attack so far. Tackle made by Niua. Again, they're using their forwards just to work the ball ahead. Wait for the opportunity to unleash this very talented back line. West with the attempted pass. Well, it was deflected, but it falls into the hands of Lowe. And his kick, well, eventually dribbles into touch. Maximum gain there from James Lowe. I'm just thinking too, Justin, with that massive parade that they had in Chicago today, they were talking about 5-6 million people celebrating the win of the Chicago Cubs. I know it took us nearly 2 hours to get out here, so not surprising that the ground's filling up late. Oh, Maori All Blacks have it. Here's May winding up. Sets it right out in front of the post, but they'll go back. Well, he's ruled there they didn't gain advantage, and so they'll come back for the scrum. Well, in fact, it's going to be a US scrum feed.
Time off.
So Todd Clever getting just a little bit of maintenance there. He was found defensively there, second man in, just prior to James Lowe's kick. And he's been defending out there quite a lot. They're getting caught short, the US, when the New Zealand Maori go into the midfield and then switch it back. They're gravitating a bit too much to the ruck. Their line speed is okay at the moment, but they're going to have to look at their numbers a lot better.
Clear picture, yeah?
So Maori All Blacks still leading those 2 converted tries. They've had a 3rd disallowed.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
But just signs here that the US Eagles is battling a little bit to stay in the contest. Another big scrum.
Stay 9, stay.
Well, they've managed to stabilise it, and Barrett comes away off the back, runs into Elliot Dixon, who holds him up. Eventually, he gets it to ground. And this is where they're just not looking very certain of themselves. Augsburger comes away with and does what he has to do, puts it away into touch. But there'll be no let up. It'll be a line out just outside the 22. Well, James Lowe here arguing that the US Eagles might have had players there, but there was no representation at the line out from the Maori All Blacks, and he was entitled to take a quick throw. So it'll be a regulation line out. Dixon now towards the back. Skeen wins it again. It's Low. Oh, gets the offload, almost connects with Bateman. Ball's been lost though, and Bryce Campbell has it. Back it goes to Holder. Kick is charged, and ball goes dead, but the referee's whistle's gone anyway. Skeen thought he was in. Very mobile, Jacob Skeen. Got up for the charge, but the referee brings them back for this.
Yeah, it was a forward pass from James Lowe as he's looking to get to Bateman. Got in between the 2 defenders, James Lowe, so the gap was there for Bateman. Just didn't quite get the timing right between the 2 of them. He's certainly getting involved in the game, James Lowe. I mentioned McKenzie getting in as a first, second receiver and having lots of touches of the ball. Well, so is James Lowe. I guess his kicking game is part of that, where he's as a first receiver becoming predominantly their kicker out of their own territory, but also he wanted to get his hands on the ball.
Well, there's Tim Bateman back in New Zealand Rugby after 2 seasons in Japan. Will play for the Crusaders next year. This is 10th game for the Maori All Blacks, and so that makes him the most capped in this team. And he's away to the right. Ehire West has gone to the left.
Bind! Set!
Threats both sides of the park when they're on attack. Right now on defence, and James Lowe drops back expecting the kick from Holder, who's having some real difficulty getting distance with his punts at the moment.
Oh, his timing's terrible. It's coming off the side of the boot 80% of the time, and they just cannot get out of their own half because of it. In contrast, when James Lowe or Ehire West or Damien McKenzie kick, they are getting lots of distance. They need to rectify it. Augsburger as well, with his kicking game, he's struggling for length too, so they've not got a lot of options and they're not working.
Dixon, again, the ball to the back. Franklin takes it nicely. Ehire West, little chip kick through. Proctor's after it. Proctor's got it. Back to Lowe. Lowe's in for the third try.
Very good from Ehire West. He went to the line at pace, and sometimes when you go for the chip kick, players stop and that telegraphs it, but instead he goes to the line, so he gets it nice and flat, keeps going. He had 4 players charging through. Lowe was on the inside, Proctor on the out. Proctor got the bounce back inside to Lowe. Well worked, well deserved, good execution.
Yeah, second try for James Lowe. Beautifully worked move. Defence came up. There was just such a big hole there for Ehire West. Precise execution, and it'll be West to convert the try that he created with that deft little kick. And so the Maori All Blacks lead by 21-0.
And again, you can see here the defence were committed to come up. The players in motion were also flat. The defence had to consider them. So they were all coming at the line at pace, and they were all a passing option, which makes the chip kick work, that they all look like they're going to receive it in hand, nice and flat. The defenders were committed, eyes on them, and then the timing of the kick was perfect.
So Niua in an action replay with the deep kick from James Lowe. Danny Barrett going to have Mackenzie on, and well, Mackenzie just got enough of him to allow Skeen to finish the job off.
Tackle 1!
There for Augsburger. And Mosikele
Tackle release!
taken in the tackle by Kara Pryor.
Ball is available.
There for the Eagles. Hold up. Quickly through the hands. Well, the rush defence really putting the pressure on. Leuta having a difficult job bringing it under control. Kerr Barlow, oh, beautifully taken by Kane Hames. Kerr Barlow was lining it up. Hames took it. Now here's a chance. Mackenzie pops it on to May. But that went forward. Well, they are missing some of their more experienced players. A handful of them. Samu Manoa, Threaten Palamo, Blaine Scully. And I think just a bit of panic really in the ranks here at the moment for the US Eagles, Justin.
Yeah, there certainly is, and it's all a byproduct of a poor kicking game at the moment. They had the opportunity there to clear. Leuta got it wrong, horribly wrong. In fact, they probably could have got themselves a penalty, the New Zealand Maori, because he kicked it into a zone where none of his players were within the 10-metre circle. But they need to rectify it and get it right very quickly. They're playing all of the game in this part of the field, the US, and they've tried to run it out, which has not given them really any change. And when they resort to the kicking game, it's just not good enough. So plenty for them to consider, and plenty for John Mitchell to talk to them about at half-time. And it'll be all based on getting out of their own half.
Well, a bit of relief here for the Eagles, because there's been a free kick at scrum time. They don't really want to be scrumming at the moment. Here's one guy who does seem capable of taking the line on effectively, Danny Barrett, although he's been held up.
Let him go, fight! Let it go!
The referee says the tackle's been completed. Has to let the player go now. Now, a charge from Lambourne. Again, the New Zealanders up very quickly, the Māori All Blacks. That time the line led by Bateman. US repeatedly being caught behind the advantage line. Now Holder. Well, there was a chance to pop the pass back on the infield to Niua, but it was snuffed out by the defence. Now he's clever. Close to the touchline on the far side, too close.
Touch.
And it'll be a line out to the Māori All Blacks. Elliot Dixon, who's one of the four,
Knees on the floor. He had both his knees on the floor.
been assigned to the Māori All Blacks for this game. He'll join the All Blacks after this for their European tour. And here he is winning the line out. Rieko Ioane. Oh, he's got such a good fend. He's got Bateman with him. Back to Rieko Ioane. Cover defence comes across, but they haven't closed him down. Now he's taken just a few metres short of the line. And, well, this could even be a yellow card here for the hooker. Hildebrand. Yeah, it's a pretty cynical effort there. He knew his team was in huge trouble. So he rolled the dice. And I'm afraid he's going to spend the next 10 in the bin, and the problems compound for the Eagles.
Yeah, they certainly do. And he did roll the dice. You're right. He was desperate. He recognised if that ball became free and went to the left, they had a huge overlap and an opportunity that the New Zealand Maori wouldn't miss to score. So you can see Ihaya West there. It just needs to get out to him. He had plenty of players outside of him, more coming with the two locks just coming into shot. And certainly a cynical penalty, and one that deserves a yellow card, but the pressure's not off them. The New Zealand Maori have got scoreboard advantage. They've got a man in the bin, and they're opting for the line out.
Looking to complete a pretty good first half here. Minute and a half to go, looking for their fourth try. They go to Franklin, and they set it. Carter Pryor in the back now. Dixon really steering things from the back of the maul. Dixon's got it. Haynes there, right on his shoulder. They take it to the line, and it's another try. I think you'll find it's the skipper coming up with the ball. It is. Ash Dixon gets the try, and it's 26-0. Almost inevitable.
And really well set as well. They got it established nice and early, and then once they got it moving forward, Ash Dixon took control. He's the man at the back. You can see they slot in there, but once it started going forward, it was looking very ominous right from the start because it was so well received in the line out, and the maul was set nice and tight, and it was just then a matter of momentum. They got the momentum, and they got the points.
He lost his boot in the process. Some nice work from Haynes. Really got on his shoulder, didn't he? And well, James Hildebrand can only watch on. They've got a real repair job to do at half-time, the Eagles. But things looking pretty good for the Maori All Black team. Looking, would you believe it, for their 70th win in a full international. Tremendous success rate, and in good shape for that to continue here tonight. So Ihaya West, and again his aim is true. 4 converted tries, and at half-time the Maori All Blacks lead the US Eagles by 28 points to 0 in Chicago.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the end.
Start. So it'll be Ihaya West who really has orchestrated the back line for the Maori All Blacks. West starts the second half, kicks down to the 22, where the Eagles captain fields the ball. And let's see what Augsburger can do here. What's the kick away downfield? And, well, it's not a bad kick, better length, but Ioane was there to take it. Fires it in quickly. West gets the pass from McKenzie. And deep it goes. Mike Tell finds Holder. And that's a better kick from Holder too. Really struggled with his kicking out of hand in the first half. The big American fly half. But this time he's got the ball downfield and gets it out on the other side of halfway.
It's two much better kicks from 9 and 10. Better length, greater accuracy.
And of course, a man in the bin still. Taura Kurbalo went for a little dart around the front of the line out. Well read by Clever. But they still have it. Hildebrand still with 6 minutes to play in the sin bin. And Ben May had a strong first half, carries it up well. Kurbalo, Ioane giving chase, and he's going to get to it first too. Misjudgment from Holder coming forward, just hesitated, and Ioane's got it very quickly up out of the line, the US Eagles, but there's some space out wide. Damian McKenzie couldn't take the pass, and here's Martin Iosefo. Grabs it for the Eagles, and a chance for them to go on to the attack, pick up some confidence and maybe some points early in the second half. Barrett with the carry. Waiting for it is Holder. Moves it on. Well, Lemositele, the loose head prop, standing out in the middle of the back line. Go back the other way. Niua fires the pass away to Bryce Campbell. Looks a very strong centre. Holder. Again, the line speed, though, from the Māori All Blacks is good. May making the tackle on Lemositele. Holder now. And, well, there's a dangerous man, Leota. Gets the ball away to Clever. Good chop back in field, too, from the Eagles captain. Waiting for it is big Nick Savetta. Tries to move the ball on. They've lost it, though. Ioane has it. Rieko Ioane for the All Blacks. Moved on by Franklin. Hames, nice pass away to Bateman. Tries to fend off. And they get a penalty here. Not rolling away. Penalty goes against, there he is, Martin Iosefo, the man born in Hawaii. And West will look for the line out. West does the job with the kick. Gets it out a good 10 metres maybe inside the 22. And, well, just waiting here for Jacob Skeen to receive some attention. Been a little meeting, a little kōrero from the Māori All Blacks, and now are ready to go to the line out.
Oh, they managed to walk that slowly and delay it that much that they've actually got Jacob Skeen back into the match. The referee was intent on them moving forward, but they were just taking their time. He must be very important in this line-out.
Skeen, the man from Waikato, wearing number 4, but they've been sharing the duties. Franklin that time was the man who went up. And again, they set it for the drive. Ioane comes away with it. Powerful. Akira Ioane, unstoppable. And really, there weren't a lot of players around to stop him.
Oh, they certainly weren't, but they really cost themselves, the US Eagles. Tawera Kurbado looked on the blind side to James Lowe, and they had an opportunity there, and just by looking at each other, it brought 2 of the defenders across. You can see there, see the 2 defenders that went across. They looked because James Lowe was free on the outside. Instead, Ioane didn't give it to Kurbalo. He went around the right-hand side, and where the defender left, I think it was Barrett, he left a massive hole there, and Ioane just went straight through it.
Well, second try, Akira Ioane really capitalising on some uncertain defence both times. And still, James Hildebrand watches on. Not just 10 minutes, but of course the 10 minutes at half-time as well. He's been out of this game for nearly 20 minutes now. In fact, make it more like 25, isn't it? So here's Ihaya West, who's been on target with his goal kicking tonight. Another good-looking kick. That's another beauty. Ihaya West converts the 5th Māori All Black try, and the score now is 35 points to 0. So 2 tries scored in his absence, and still time for more before he comes back. Niua this time kicks a little shorter, and it's been knocked down by Skeen, but not through. Well, crowd roaring because Nate Brakeley thought he was in, but there was a knock on from one of his teammates, and so they'll have to come back for a scrum.
And there was. You can see there, he goes up, Skeen lost it backwards, and then one of the US forwards lost it forward before he picked it up and bolted to the line. He hadn't heard the whistle, and he got all the way around behind the sticks before he realised that this wasn't going to be that glorious moment.
Denied a great moment on his full debut for the US Eagles. It was Tony Lambourne who couldn't gather in the knockdown.
Fine.
Well, the Eagles pretty lucky. There haven't been too many scrums in the absence, so they brought on their reserve hooker now, Joe Taufete'e.
Right, wait. Let's set where we were. Put weight on them. Okay, so we'll be okay, hold your own weight. Let's go.
We've been having some real problems at scrum time. The Eagles, Maori All Black ball, of course. Augsburger complaining about the feed. Kerr-Barlow fires it away to low. Barreling through the tackle of Augsburger. Ioane, well, he was trying to get the pass away, but the ball's been knocked away. He's not able to clear it, so it'll be a knock on.
Scrum white. Time up.
Well, time on just about up, I think. Yes, they are able to restore order. Hildebrand is back, but a fair bit of damage done in his absence. What they've done here is Lemositele has gone off. Taufete'e is staying on, and so a bit of a reshuffle in the front row. Taufete'e going into loose head prop now.
Point. Set. Number one, not steady.
Well, second free kick at scrum time goes against the Maori All Blacks, and Danny Barrett makes the run, but Pryor's got hands to it. The referee playing advantage. Well, in fact, he's playing advantage to the Eagles because Carter Pryor was off his feet.
Penalty against the Maori All Blacks for going.
Well, what are they going to do here? They could take a shot at goal, but no. They're going to have a go for the line out. Nothing to lose now. So the chant of USA goes up for the first time tonight. Savetta takes it nicely. They got an opportunity here. Ball in the middle of the maul. They go to the line. I think they've come up just short here. They're over the line now. They're celebrating, but have they got the ball down?
Time off.
Well, it's Clever who comes up. He looks like he's scored here.
Lowen.
The previous play is under video review.
And he's asked the second question too. Justin, give me a reason.
Was well set, the drive. And then as it spins, as we look at it to the right, you can see here it comes around to the right as we're looking at it. And somehow Todd Clever ends up with the ball.
Well, they never transferred it to the back, did they?
No.
Kept it at the front. There he is. You can see, well, he disappears under that pile of bodies, but he's well and truly over the line.
Yeah, but I believe he's crawled his way over the line. Very similar to what they got Kane Hames for. If you can find him, you can actually see that he's short and then wriggles his way over. So as they go down there, he's short. He's got the knee pad on. the tape around his knee with the black in there. You can see him wriggling his way over from there. So to me, that's already on the ground, and he's done the same as what Kane Hames did in the first half. He's short, now he's wriggling himself over.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
The biggest roar of the night goes up around Toyota Park. At last, the US Eagles have been able to turn a try-scoring opportunity into a try, and they're on the board.
By number 6, Todd Clever, in the 48th minute.
Todd Clever, a real globe-trotter, a man who's played in New Zealand, South Africa, played in Europe, back captaining the team and scoring against the Maori All Blacks. Attempted conversion from Holder is good, and it's 35-7.
Conversion is good by number 10, Will Holder. The score, the Maori All Blacks 35.
So,
USA Eagles,
Second Lieutenant Will Holder of the US Army with the conversion. Converts the try of his captain, and 35-7 now. Clever back in the action. And Augsburger this time putting it high, coming forward and taking it well is Ioane. Another powerful carry from Akira Ioane. Snaffled though by Nate Breakley. Kick over the top. It's Clever giving chase. Low got this under control. Waving his arms around, calling players into position for a counter-attack, and it's Rieko Ioane. Brushes off the first. Can't get past Taufete'e. And it's there for Tawara Kurbalo. Opportunity to float the pass wide to James Lowe. Thumps another one downfield. They've constantly had to go back to retrieve the punting of James Lowe tonight. Hold up. That's a much better kick, though, from him. Although he hasn't found touch. And now here's Damian McKenzie. Spots a lock, drops the pass off. Akira Ioane. Storming run. Pass away to McKenzie. Back and field it goes, and Hames not going to stop him this time.
Try for the Maori All Blacks by number
Kane Hames gets the try he was denied in the first half, and straight away the Maori All Blacks hit back.
They certainly do. Damian McKenzie instrumental. The switchback to Ioane. He timed his pass perfectly. Then the speed of Damian McKenzie, the beautifully timed pass. And on the inside, he finds the loose head prop who dots it down under the bar. Felt like he was running like a back, scored it like one.
Well, they've had no answer to the running of Akira Ioane. The brilliance of Damian McKenzie, but what about the finish from Kane Hames? The try is converted.
Conversion good by number 10, Ihia West.
And it's 42-7.
42, USA
It's a better story for later in life, that try, than the one earlier, isn't it, that he got denied?
Yeah, and I know back in the day they used to talk about Fat Man's track, but I don't know, that just wouldn't be giving him due credit.
Absolutely not.
He wasn't running the shortest route up the middle of the park. He had a bit of work to do, and he showed good speed. Niua with the restart. Franklin, in fact, Skeen went up, couldn't take it down. McKenzie. They've been quite happy to kick the ball down the middle of the field tonight, the Māori All Blacks. Here's Holder. Well, for once, he decides to counter-attack. Teo taken on a good tackle by Rieko Ioane. Niua. Forwards just a bit bunched up around him, so opted to take the line on. Augsburger calling play to the short side here. Clever. Bateman completes the tackle. Niua slowly getting himself up off the deck. Holder moves it on. Bauman. Again, good line speed from the Māori All Black defence. Niua quickly moves it on. Teo, though, players in his face, just couldn't control the pass. They've defended well for the most, Justin, the Maori All Blacks.
Yes, they have. They've come forward nice and aggressively and quickly and cut off the outside channels for the Eagles, who haven't really been able to get their wingers into the game with ball and space in those tram lines, just because of the way the Maori All Blacks are coming forward at speed.
Well, changes being made. Shane Christie there in jersey 20, and also Leighton Price from Taranaki off as Kara Pryor. And Jacob Skeen will also call it a night.
Leighton Price, number 20, Shane Christie. Going out, number 4, Jacob Skeen, number 7, Kuda Pryor.
So off goes Kara Pryor. He's had his name rather butchered, I'm afraid. The public address announcer's done a pretty good job tonight, but there's one he hasn't quite nailed, calling him Kuda.
Bye. Set.
Front row is slipping. Just looking around the ground, we remarked on the quality of the surface when the players came out, Justin, but there are signs of it cutting up a bit around the park, isn't there?
Yeah, there are. It's just a little soft, and anytime there's a decent breakdown or scrum area, it does cut the grass up quite significantly. So they're just asking to move. You can see there where that one collapsed.
The other thing I'd say about the crowd too is that you'll see empty seats, but in fact the areas away, particularly to our left-hand end, there's a bar area up there with all the food concessions, and there are hundreds of people up there. Tendency in US sport for people to come and go. Now, a little wraparound move involving Damien McKenzie. Tried to get the ball away, but it's fallen for Folau Niua. So he gets the intercept. Now they need someone to clear it. Good counter ruck from the Maori All Blacks. And they get the penalty.
Penalty against the US.
That was excellent counter ruck from Matt Proctor. He aggressively went into that breakdown and won the ball back. Lovely work move, the loop around McKenzie through the gap. Just looked to get the little backhanded offload out to the supporting players. However, it was two trailing US Eagle backs that were in the way, and they snaffled it back.
Just a suspicion there that the ball might have glanced off Martin Iosefo before it was grabbed by Folau Niua as well. Nicely taken down by Franklin. He's going to be an important man on this tour with his command in the middle of the line out. James ends up on the ground, but they've done a pretty good job here, the Eagles. I think Breakley's got in the middle there, wrapped his arms around the ball. That's great work from the big lock. He plays out of New York. There he is, Nate Breakley. A late call up by John Mitchell into the squad, and he's helped defuse that attempted line-out drive. You see him there. Once he got his hands on the ball, wasn't going to let it go.
So it looks like also Ihia West is off the field now, and Marty McKenzie slotted back to fullback. And Damien McKenzie's at first five, so two brothers out there playing for the New Zealand Maori All Blacks.
And pressure goes on at scrum time again.
Ball is out.
And Augsburger, well, he manages to do pretty well in the end. He had Christie all over him. Now a bit of space for them on attack. Teo, the fullback, away to Big Leota. Oh, Rico Ioane not only makes the tackle, he's stolen the ball off him as well. So brilliant work, although they've been penalised. Well, he ruled that Ioane was held in the tackle. And he's penalised him here.
Penalty against the Maori All Blacks for holding on in the tackle.
They did well to fret to the outside, but this is an excellent tackle from Rieko Ioane. Goes in hard and aggressive at the chest area. Enough of a jolt that he can then rip the ball free as well. Brilliant defence.
Just a little delay here while Nate Augsburger receives some attention. And more changes being made by the Maori All Blacks. And it looks like a change out in the front row. Chris Eves and Marcel Renata are on the field. Now Renata in the blue headgear. From, well, originally from Awanui in New Zealand's far north.
Substitutions for the Maori All Blacks coming in.
And well, the Eagles win it from the line-out. They give it to Liotu, who's a powerful customer, the left winger. Inside the 22, Holder now stepping, taken, sets another phase. They move it wide. Yosefo, tackle made by Marty McKenzie wearing jersey number 22. Bauman. Now waiting for it is McFarland, jersey 20, but again, they picked their moment to come up, the Maori All Blacks. Now a little loss of possession, but not knocked forward by Augsburger. Niua.
19, move!
Always looks very busy. Hasn't found a way through though. Teo flings it wide. Yosefo. And gets a nice offload away too to Danny Barrett. He sets it inside the 22. Well, patience the key here now. Taufete'e. Again, good rush defence. Leighton Price that time getting up. Now they go wide at McFarland. Dixon making the tackle. That's Elliot Dixon.
Not now, not now.
Augsburger arrives. Holder. Just a little flat-footed. Just a bit static, and that enables the Maori All Black defence to get up on them. McFarland again. Still not able to get the ball over the 22. Taufete'e. Bauman around the fringe. And, well, you'd have to say that's pretty good defence from the Maori All Blacks.
Penalty against the USA Eagles for holding on in the tackle.
Yeah, what it was forcing them to do, because they're coming up so quickly and aggressively like this, like Dixon does, and then Bateman in as the second arriving player makes an impact, as they were always having to switch back to where they came from. They couldn't really get any flow across the field. And because of the aggressiveness and the line speed, the ball just wasn't quick enough as well, which really restricts you from getting over the advantage line.
Time off.
More changes being made. This is the big tall fellow. That's Matthew Jensen. And there is Shalom Suniula. Plays for the Seattle Saracens, but in fact came out of Kelston Boys High School in Auckland. Off goes Holder, who's had a bit of a mixed night, and also Breakley. Ball down the back of the line out, and Christie, off it goes to Bateman. Webber, so big changes being made by both sides now. Brad Webber, away it goes to Renata, slips a lovely ball away to Proctor. And he's looking to build. They've shown good continuity in this match. Webber looks to go to the short side, some quick hands and a bit of space for Proctor. Brushes off the first, breaks through the second, and eventually is put on the ground by Jensen, but they've got it. And Eves now, that's the 22 you see just away to the right, coming around offside. The Eagles quickly through the hands to Lowe, turns it back in field, finds Bryce Campbell, the US centre, with the pass. They'll come back for the penalty. Lowe, you see there in the middle of shot. Justin, he's always aware of the opportunities in field. So creative on that left edge.
Yeah, he is. And lots of involvements, as mentioned earlier, particularly in the first half. James Lowe, the ball probably hasn't flowed his way as much in the second half, but still every time he does get his hands on the ball, he looks to create something. Nice little interchange of passing there as they freed the space for James Lowe on the outside between the two McKenzie brothers. Of course, the Ioane brothers out there as well. Quick hands, freed the space, good skill set.
And there is Leighton Price, part of the Taranaki team. New Zealand's Mitre 10 Cup. Wins the line out.
20 out, 20.
And look for the drive again. McFarland has to get out of there. Dixon has it in the back.
9.
Now they have to move it. Webber goes to the short side. Webber. And Brad Webber adds to the Maori All Black total up to 47-7 now.
They just haven't coped when the Maori All Blacks drive defensively. They just look lost. We've seen Ioane break free now. Webber also a couple of tries close to the line from Mauls. But there it was well set up by James Lowe again. He just got himself nice and wide, which created that space for Webber to then get lateral and then just use his speed to get outside the defender on the inside for the US. And James Lowe holding his width helped that. Nice little dart break and well executed.
Well, Marty McKenzie's going to take over the goal kicking duties. Ihia West was flawless. Didn't have one penalty shot at goal, just knocked over the conversions from all over the place, all points of the compass. Two sets of brothers on the field now for the Māori All Blacks, the McKenzie brothers, the Ioane brothers. Here's Marty McKenzie. That looks pretty good too, but it's just a wait. So 47 points to 7 and still 16 minutes to play. The try scored by that man, Brad Webber, who will have a key role in the remaining games with Tawera Kurbalo going back to the All Blacks. And here he is, he does this so well. Little glance to the right, dart to the left. Sixth try of the night. And here he is. In fact, he's been swallowed up in that ruck, so Lowe clears it away. Back to Lowe. Well, not quite sure what happened there. And the ball rather dribbling over the touchline. And there is Bryce Campbell.
How many?
So Pat Blair is on, replacement hooker from the Seattle Saracens. And USA have it. Niua just has not been able to find a way through. Sets it and give it to big Nick Savetta. They come back for the penalty.
Penalty on the Maori All Blacks for not rolling away.
Savetta there in 5. Plays for the Newcastle Falcons. One of a couple of players released by the European clubs. 3 or 4 others weren't, and they will join the side. They've got 2 internationals left in this program. They play Romania next week in Bucharest, and then they play Tonga in San Sebastian in Spain, which is a good place to go and watch a rugby game, especially if you like to eat fish. I look forward to that, but still got a big job ahead of them here. See if they can get some respectability about this score and the last quarter of an hour of this game here in Chicago.
That's once.
Referee tells them they'll have to get it moving. Blair, the replacement hooker, has it in the back. Now the referee's playing advantage. Penalty's just starting to add up a little bit.
Use it! Penalty advantage.
And you heard the referee there. They can have a go at it. They give it to Taufete'e. He's lost it, so they'll come back for the penalty. Wanting to take it quickly. Thomason, the replacement halfback, is on. Gets it away. Here's a chance for a second try in the corner. And been held up just short of the line. So the Eagles looking to land a second one. Taufete'e. Chant goes up again. Well, looking to the forwards now, see if they can do the job. Here's big Angus McClellan from the Chicago Lions. Again, a good counter ruck from the Maori All Blacks. Drive them back a couple of metres. Blair gives it up to Savetta. Taufete'e has another go. Now Thomason, Suniula, Campbell trying to crash through. Damien McKenzie helping out on the tackle. Still got it though, Yosefo. They're out on him quickly. Ioane helped out by Price. They've got him up off the ground too. He's caught Maul, and more good defence. Well, Rieko Ioane, we know what a great attacking player is. He's done some tremendous things on defence tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. And again, once they decided to shift it from the forwards battering away in close, it's just the speed in coming forward defensively of the Maori All Blacks that they simply cannot cope with. They're cutting off the outside. The player who receiving the ball then props and stops. The best they looked was when Bryce Campbell, the centre, he actually carried it with some power, and then as they shifted it from there, it was just too static, allowed them to come forward, and there's really nowhere to go. So as they decide to give up here and move it back across, looping around. See how many New Zealand Maori players are not committed to the breakdown. They're only putting the tackler and one more in, so only two there, so they're all on their feet, and then they're quite comfortable to come forward with line speed. So that's good from Campbell. From there it needs to be shifted quickly, and then someone else runs onto it. However, it's slow ball, and from there, compromise. Ioane came forward, turnover.
Well, there's a bit of a problem here for the Maori All Blacks, because while this has been going on, Tom Franklin has left the field. He's hobbled off, and that's a bit of a worrying sign, because the game's coming up against Munster and Harlequins, and I get the feeling that he's going to have to shuffle things around in the forward pack again. I think it looks like Matt Proctor is going to pack down on the side of the scrum. So Price and Dixon are going to lock, and you can see Matt Proctor there with the heavy strapping around his right leg. He's having to go into flanker. Well, his old man was a pretty good prop. There you are. Sean Wainui's on. He's playing at centre, so he was the man who came on for Franklin. They win the scrum comfortably. Webber sends it downfield. Here's Madison Hughes, been a regular on the 7 scene over the years. He played at the Rio Olympics, but back in the 15s now. Suniula moves it on. Niua. He's held up just short of the 10-metre mark. Oh, Angus McClellan did not make a very good job of that at all. All bouncing away off his face. I mentioned before, Chicago Lions. He plays also professionally the Ohio Aviators. Might have been looking skyward with the pass coming his way. That's got to be a bit of a worry if Franklin is injured. Such a good member of this team.
Yeah, I think we've seen tonight how valuable he is. Not only the work he does in the line out, but also he's carried the ball a lot and gets in there, as traditionally a lot of New Zealand locks are doing at the moment. He's got good ball skills and understands the contact as well, so it will be a shame if he's badly injured.
Well, again, the scrum more than capable of holding Bateman. Nice little intricate move, and then a kick downfield from Damien McKenzie. Hughes takes it and off he goes. He's a nippy little runner. Pops the pass back in field to Suniula. And he's gone over the touchline and taken quickly by the Maori All Blacks. Damien McKenzie fires it into his brother. There's Rico Ioane and puts the hammer down, trying to crash through the tackle of Niua. And again, just held in the tackle, not releasing the ball, and so he's penalised. Looks like we've got a touch judge or assistant referee report.
Clearly, 21 black.
Yeah, I think Brad Weber was a bit cynical there. They tried to take the quick tap and Brad Weber knocked the ball away from the player trying to take it. Yeah, they've spotted it. I did notice it and thought he might have got away with it.
So now it's 15 on 14 the other way, and they'll have to play it out. The Maori All Blacks with 14 players, a centre playing flanker. Professional foul.
Here, guys. Here, 10 metres from the original.
Well, a margin of 40 points would be the second most conceded by the USA against the Maori All Blacks in 4 games. They might have a chance to maybe reduce some of the leeway. Here it is here. He was right there initially. Didn't make the call until the intervention.
Black, then a white scrum.
Knock on initially by the Maori All Blacks. So Weber will spend the rest of the match watching from the Naughty Boys chair, and let's see what the USA can do. Stephen Thomason, the replacement halfback. Backs all the way to the right. Scrum, though, goes into reverse. Oh, another great scrum from the Maori All Blacks. Well, they really have owned the scrum tonight, Justin.
Yeah, they certainly have. It's been a problem area for the US when you're not getting enough ball anyway, or territory. You do need your scrum functioning, and they've had them under pressure all night, and the changes haven't made any difference to that whatsoever. Another very powerful Maori All Black scrum, and they turn the ball over off really a chance that the US have had so rarely in this game to launch something inside the Maori half, really.
Now the wave going around the ground. Let's see that often here, being a football ground, or soccer as they call it here. Leighton Price wins the line out. And Christie take over as halfback now. Renata, he's taken just short of the halfway mark. Price makes a couple of hard meters. In fact, this is Price picking it up now. It was Dixon with the carry. Now Rico Ioane going in, taking some of the pressure off the forwards. Akira Ioane gets a lovely ball away, and well, the referee says play on, no knock on. Eves wading his way up towards the 22. Rico Ioane takes it around the fringe, looking for the offload. Akira now pops it back in field. McKenzie tried to free the pass, lost it forward, and the referee says that's advantage over as it's hacked back downfield by the Eagles. Bateman has it, fires a big pass across to Christie. He's going to take them on up the middle. There for Damien McKenzie. So they're taking it in turns, playing it half-back. Renata this time. Nice ball back on the inside to Marty McKenzie. Brushes off the tackle. Can't link up though with Lowe. Referee says play on. And Maori All Blacks arriving too. Try to swarm over it. And they get a penalty. Taken quickly by McKenzie. Juggled and then lost by Joe Royal. And now some space for Leota. Coming across Proctor. Has Proctor on. No, Proctor nails him. Good tackle, good defence. Leaves the ball behind. Royal thinks the ball was there for him. The referee says penalty advantage. And play carries on. Now Proctor's gone down. Looking a bit sore. And they'll come back for that penalty. Proctor clutching his left knee.
Might be just cramp, possibly for Proctor.
Space before you complete it.
Yeah, back to his feet. So they put it out just short of halfway. There's 4 minutes to play now.
Stay there, Black.
And Blair on the back, not a good throw though, and well done by Royal, swooped on it. Renata tried to get the offload away, didn't come off. Clever grabbing it. Suniula has to pick up a low pass, did well, but now look how Mackenzie's trying to rip it off him, can't do so. Now Blair fires it wide. Al McFarlane replacement, loose forward. Counter ruck, brilliant counter ruck by Elliot Dixon, wins a penalty. Taken quickly by Chris Eves, and off goes the prop, stepping out of 2 tackles inside the 22. Proctor gets the pass away. Rico Ioane from a standing start, quick hands, and it's been knocked on by the Eagles. Well, they're trying to keep the ball alive, trying to add to the score. Remains at 47-7, just a couple of minutes to play.
Yeah, and at 47-7, I guess it's reasonably harsh to be critical, but probably particularly in the second half, the Maori All Blacks just been a little bit guilty of not making great decisions in the contact zone. Trying just, I think, a little bit too hard to force the pass. They are winning the breakdown, they're getting there quicker, and sometimes that miracle offload is better kept when there's a try scoring or a clean line break opportunity, and just multi-phase. It's being reasonably harsh, as I said, but as they're going to move forward and to the rest of this tour and they get more games under their belt, they will get better in that zone. But I just think they've probably pushed the panic button a little bit too much tonight in the contact zone. But hey, when you've knocked up 47 points, I think you just want to be ambitious as well, don't you?
Bottom line is it'll be their 70th win in an international game out of 111. It's a tremendous strike rate. The upper 60 percentages. I mean, they've had, what, 6 wins against Australia. They beat the Lions on the last tour, and they get another Lions match next year, as is traditional. They've beaten England a couple of times, France, Scotland. I think South Africa and Wales, probably the only major nations that they haven't been able to beat. And such a great tradition in New Zealand rugby, dating all the way back to the late 1800s when the first New Zealand touring team went overseas, the native team. There's Matai Leota, man from San Jose, the left wing. He's looked dangerous when he's had opportunities.
Crouch! 5, 6.
Oh, Damien McKenzie feeds the ball to the scrum. Let's see what his pass is like. Pretty good. Bateman pops it away to the replacement Wainui. And thundering onto it, Eves, who's looked full of work since coming on. Price, nice ball away to Shane Christie. And played it, did well. Went again, although it's been ripped away nicely by Danny Barrett. Thomason on the short side. Hughes has looked capable of opening the defence since coming on. Madison Hughes.
Not now.
Well, they're going to try and work it out from inside their own 22. See if they can create something from long range. I don't think it's really on. In fact, Thomason says no. Put the ball out. We'll go to the set piece.
Interesting, but not surprising to see Damien McKenzie filling in that halfback role with Webber still in the bin when Aaron Smith was stood down in South Africa and they needed a halfback.
Okay, play.
Well, they've taken a quick throw here. The referee says that's fine. Joe Royal trips over, but he can pick up, go again and score. Joe Royal, the replacement hooker, goes in the corner, and I'm afraid the USA just went bye-byes there.
Yeah,
they went to
did.
sleep.
Yeah.
By number 16, Joe Royal.
Just a nice little interchange between the two at the front of the line out. Nobody standing there for the US. And Joe Royal, what does he run there? 30, nearly 30 metres? It'll be 70 metres when he tells the story, but he's run it in well.
Well, Chris Eves there, you can see in shot, he had a hand in it. Royal, who really is one of the leaders of this team, particularly in the tikanga, the protocols around the haka, he really has taken on a leadership role, and that's a great moment for him. Very proud to be wearing this Maori All Black jersey, and he scored a try, and he's brought up 50 points.
And it's Damien McKenzie that I was talking about before, that nice little move that caught us all out. I was mentioning he was the man that was asked to start doing some training at halfback should they lose another player in South Africa. So he did about 3 or 4 days of training in South Africa for this moment.
Oh, the siren goes. McKenzie's kick. Can he put the icing on it? Yes, he can. Damien McKenzie with the wide-angle conversion. And a thumping win for the Maori All Blacks to start their tour. They've beaten the US Eagles by 54 points to 7.
Very dominant performance, the Maori All Blacks. The USA certainly had their moments in this game.
USA Eagles 7. Please be sure to drive home safely, and thank you again for coming out to Toyota Park.
But in the end, after a promising start, they just couldn't match the strike power of this Maori All Blacks team. A thumping victory here, 54 points to 7, the final score at Toyota Park in Chicago.
This Maori All Blacks match was brought to you by Aotearoa Fisheries.